it's Lisa from the WOW Network here, Women at Work. Remember, we're here to support, guide and connect with LGBT women in the workplace. You may remember my last video was all about application tips, your CV and application forms in order for you to land that interview. Well, this one follows on from that. It's all about how to act when you're in the interview and a few tips for before and afterwards as well. So keep watching. Okay, so the first tip is to practice. Now, some interviews will require a presentation, others may require you to do some group work whilst you're in there, and some may set you a task. So hopefully you'll know beforehand what the interview is going to consist of, if you're going to have any tasks or presentations, and so you need to practice. Even if you don't have any particular task, if it's just a straightforward question and answer session, you still need to practice. So grab a friend, preferably like a mentor, somebody that you trust that will give you great feedback, useful feedback that you can do something with, and practice those interview questions, practice your presentation, practice everything so that you know things really well and so that it sounds really great when you're talking. You're not stumbling over your words, you're just saying it the best way possible. Okay, so the second tip is to use your notes. Now, a former manager of mine said an interview is not a memory test, and they're absolutely right. It's not a memory test. You are not expected to know every last little thing about your CV, every last skill or job sort of achievement that you've got on there. So take your CV in with you, and what I tend to do as well that's useful and that I know a lot of people use is a kind of cheat sheet of some of the examples that you might be used. So an example, for instance, about when you've done some really good teamwork, or an example talking about when you've had a challenge, or even an example of where you had a project and it went wrong. So having that cheat sheet, that list of examples that you can pull at, and I don't mean literally sitting there and reading it in front of you, but having it next to you, just briefly looking down at it to remind yourself of one of those situations, which you can then explain using that STAR technique that many people talk about. So situation, task, action and result. So listening, and specifically listening to your interviews and listening to the question. It's really important to listen and understand what the questions are that you're being asked. If you've not heard it properly, or if you're worried you've misinterpreted, ask them to repeat the question. Now, not every question, but certainly a couple of times if need be. Really understand what they're looking for in an answer. Is it a solution to a problem that you've faced before? Is it something that you would do in the future? Is it people-based? Is it a technology-based answer? Really understand what they're looking to get from you in terms of your answer, and then you'll be able to answer it appropriately. So the next tip is to talk about yourself. Now, that's not about being egotistical or having a big head. And I know a lot of people are reluctant to blow their own trumpet, but an interview is exactly the place where you should be doing that. It's the one place where you can talk about you and your achievements. Don't fall into the trap of saying we did this, we did that. They're not interviewing your whole project team, they're interviewing you. And so you need to understand and put this in your prep, what tasks you were responsible for, what things you led on, what were your decisions, and make sure that in every situation and every task, it's about you. Okay, so my final tip is to show interest. And this is the section of the interview where at the end they say, do you have any questions for us? Now, as an interviewer, if somebody says, no, not really, my heart sinks. I think, gosh, you really are not interested in this role. You're not interested in this company if you have no questions for us. It's a crucial thing to get right. We all get asked this in interview, so you need to make sure you have a list of questions that you can use. So I would recommend some technical and some non-technical questions. Your non-technical questions can be about the role, they can be about the company, they can be about the culture. So one thing you could ask is, what's the most challenging thing about this position? You could also ask, something about the company to show that you've done your research. So you may ask, I see that you do Free Fruit Fridays. Can you tell me more about that? It shows that you've done your research, that you're interested in the company. It's great if you can ask the interviewers something about themselves as well, maybe something about their role or something about, where they've progressed in the company. Now, asking technical questions is really important as well. So have a look at your CV and see where you can map across some of those technical things so that you can show that you have that technical ability. But ask those technical questions about the role. It means that you've read and understood the job description properly and that you understand that you can fit their requirements for the job. So don't ignore this really vital question. It really is crucial to get right. Okay, so I hope those tips have been helpful and that you're all prepped now for your next interview, and good luck, and let me know how you get on. Make sure you comment below. I'll see you soon. Bye.